So I've clamped this in the vise and I've cut down these lines here. And as you can see, I went at an angle like that near the end to match the angle here. And that pops out, and then this side. And then I'll just have to cut it there a bit more. And that just falls out.
Very neat.
Obviously, because I've cut this piece off, I've just unstuck it from the piece of wood and marked it out there.
Good idea, Jake.
So now we can cut that out.
Okay, and how are we going to do that?
And to do that, I think I'll put it in the vise and then get the coping saw. Maybe you can maybe do it with the tenon saw and just make a couple of straight cuts and then do the rest with the coping saw.
Do you know what? I think the tenon saw possibly first, Jake.
Okay, so I'll do that then. So I think it's about there where I need to start. There we go. I've gone off the line a bit, but that doesn't really matter, I don't think. So the next part is to cut that out with the coping saw, that out and that out there.
And we'll just get that a bit more level maybe at the top. Actually,
Yes.
Show the viewers using the file on it perhaps.
Okay,
Or even a chisel, because it's slightly out there, isn't it?
so with the chisel, I wouldn't recommend a chisel, I think a file would be better. So I'm just going to skim along it, just like that. And that's going across the grain, so you can go with the grain. There's a bit of a ridge there.
So we go from this way. Should we go?
Yeah,
You come around there.
try that.
Come across. That's it. And of course, that chisel has to be very, very sharp.
I think we may need to sharpen this one.
Okay. So for the younger viewers, you must have an adult supervising you. And what are you doing here, Jake?
And now
You're
I've got the
cheating.
file, yes, and I'm just smoothing out that little
Oh, let me
bump
come
there.
this side of the can. Right. So you're using the file now, and you're cheating.
Yeah, I guess. And whilst I'm here, I can do this part as well.
Oh, nice technique. Pretty smoothly. I like that, Jake.
And then
Good.
whilst you're here, you can also chamfer the edges so they're not so sharp. But I'm going to do that later after I've cut everything out.
And chamfer is to round off, isn't it?
Mhm.
Well, it's looking great so far. Okay, come back to you.
So for this next part, you can use the sander, as that's a very small amount here. Now, I would recommend only a 16-year-old or older can use this. You can use it if you're younger, but with parental supervision. And to use the sander, you're going to push down on the base and don't hold it up like this, or put it on the opposite end where it could fling the wood up. Just make sure it stays on the base with extraction on and your eye protection. And as you're going along, most people like to go along like that when they're doing a curve, which you can do. It's not essential. And just be very careful.
And loose clothing,
Oh
Jake?
yes, I've rolled up my sleeves here, just because I don't want my sleeves getting caught in the sander and pulling my hand in or anything like that.
And I know you haven't got long hair, but
If you do have long hair, make sure you tie it back and it doesn't get in the way.
okay, let's go.
Right.
Okay, and what are we doing now, Jake?
So now I've wrapped a piece of sandpaper around a block. It could be a block of anything really. And I'm going with the grain, which is that way. and I'm making sure I sound level and I don't go like on the edge.
For the younger viewers, what's the grain?
The grain are those like lines there, can you see?
Yes.
They're the lines in the wood, and I'm just going to sand this a bit. And then you can also go around the corners like that. Now I'm going across the grain here because I find it's easier whilst going around a corner and you can't really see the scratches, but it's best if you do it this way.
I suppose you could lift it out of the vice a bit.
Yeah. Or you can also use a file.
Mm-hmm.
It won't give you as good as a finish, but it will get you really close.
Bit of a technique there, Jake. You've got that just right.
Yeah.
Keeping it level.
And a file is also useful for getting into gaps like that.
Okay. What's next, Jake?
So next, I've just realised maybe to take that corner off there and then put the wheels on
Okay.
and dowel through.
Brilliant. Now, what are you doing there, Jake?
And now I'm just chamfering these edges with a block plane because it's a lot easier than sanding it or filing it. And that will make sure there's no sharp edges. And I guess you could even do it there, a little trickier. So you can flip it round. And I didn't mention, but you can also go like this with the sanding. That way you're still going with the grain, which in this case is down like that. So you can do that whilst going around the corner. Get that
show
nice
them the
and
block
smooth.
plane on the top, perhaps, as well.
Yes, this I don't
You'll have
think
to turn
is
it, won't you?
really designed for it.
Keep it level, Jake. Wait. That's it.
Okay. Then
Go right across, I suppose. I don't know. And then
there we
this-
go.
Okay, that does look better.
And then we can just chamfer these corners as well, or edges.
A bit more sandy. Good.
Yes.
Okay, what's next?
So next, is to get these wheels and stick them on. And the way we're going to do that is get a piece of wooden dowel.
Okay, let's have a look. That's dowel rod. Yeah.
Yes. As you can see, that goes in there nicely, but that does not go in there. So we're going to have to drill the hole in the wheel bigger.
Right, so the hole there is 5mm, but the hole there needs to be 4mm.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3.8mm dowel, so it's a nice tight fit in the wheel.
Okay, so
Okay,
I'm
right.
just going to put the drill bit in the drill. You can do this on a pillar drill. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hold it manually and make sure you have some sort of sacrificial base underneath. But you can put these in the vise.
I think for the younger viewers, I'm tempted to say put it in the vise.
Yeah, of course that may make the wheels slightly flat, but
As long as I don't crush it, because...
Yeah.
Yeah.
there we go.
And
And
that's
then-
got to be dead vertical, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll feel the drill bit kind of works its way in.
Now, interestingly, you keep the drill bit going the same way as you go in and
Yes,
out.
so you go in like that,
You keep
and
it
then
going
you
the
don't
same-
stop the drill.
Yeah.
You keep it going the same way and just slowly
Yeah.
bring it out.
And be very careful. What are the safety rules of that, do you think?
Just make sure you're not pushing too much pressure on it where it kicks back like that.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about that, you can normally set it to like a speed where it just skips.
And what about holding the work?
And holding the work either in the vise or clamp down or hold very securely, assuming that you're drilling slowly and controlledly.
Okay.
There we go, it's nice and smooth. So for this next part, which is getting the dowel and cutting it to size, what you'll want to do is put the wheel in, take the project out the vise,
You put that in
And
very quickly. Sorry.
slide it
Okay, yeah.
in through like that,
Yeah.
and then get the other wheel, if possible, and slide it like
Right,
this, and
yeah.
this to get the most accurate, and then you just put a little mark there,
Okay, right.
and then
Oh, right.
and there's two ways you can do this. You can either do it with a tenon saw or a junior hacksaw, which is generally a metalworking tool,
Yeah.
but you can use it in woodworking. And for this, I'm going to use the junior hacksaw.
And
It's
why is the junior hacksaw better than the tenon saw for this job?
because it's got a very fine blade
Yeah, I think you're right there.
there,
It has, hasn't it?
and in this case, an extremely fine blade, so it works more like a file, and doesn't jam as easily.
Of course, the rear axle is slightly longer, isn't it?
Yeah, because you've got to account for that bit that you didn't cut out there.
Show them that tenon saw working instead.
Okay.
Why not? Got it really near the edge, that's it. It can be
Okay.
done. There we go.
Yes.
And the next steps is all... We're
Next
getting
step.
to the assembly part,
Yeah.
aren't we now? Putting it together.
Now, I've just realised this hole we've drilled is a little too big. But
Jake.
we can always glue it.
Yeah.
PVA can always solve that. And then you can put the wheels in.
We'll
Get
have
the
to
other
make
wheels.
the hole slightly smaller then. I thought we did that quite carefully.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay. Do you know what it might be? The dowel, this is the dowel, it can vary in diameter slightly. So there's the diameter there. That can vary, I've noticed, from one piece of dowel to another.
Yeah. Well, look, as you can
Blame the
see,
wood. Blame the wood.
as you can see, we've got the car
I
there
like it.
finished.
Yeah, that's pretty effective.
There
So-
are
Sorry, if you go back to your design, let's go over
Yes.
here, bring the car over, and there it. Oh, he's got a cold. It's that one, isn't it? I realise it's that one.
yes, even though I think it was meant to be this one. To be honest,
it can't have been because of the angle.
yeah, it was meant to be that one.
I think you'll find it's that one, Joe.
Yes. Well, as you can see,
Well, it's a hybrid. It's in between both of
Yeah.
them.
That's pretty well finished now. You can take it even further, which is add a steering wheel there maybe, and if you got the option, maybe have a smaller wheel at the front and a bigger one at the back.
Oh yes, actually, that's it. I like the bigger wheel.
Yeah, but we didn't have enough wheels on hand to
That's
do
no
that,
good.
so
And you could put some detail on the back.
yeah,
that spoiler.
that's meant to be like a prototype spoiler.
I like it. Groovy. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to do another clip, and that will be probably clip 3, and that will be the finishing off, perhaps even it varnished up with a steering wheel. And
Yes.
I don't know, we might take that off and put a steering wheel. We'll have a go and see. Any other suggestions, Jake?
Don't think so.
It's looking good.
Yes.
It's looking great. And you've made that in not that long, I don't think.
No.
30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe.
Mhm.
Okay, so see you in clip 3, I think. Do you want to just discuss quickly the tools?
Okay, so we've got a hand drill, drill bits, of course, a quick grip or clamp that we didn't actually use, a tri-square block plane, coping saw. Now we've got a mallet and a chisel over there, although we didn't really use those, so they're not essential. Got a file, tenon saw,
Quick file.
got junior hacksaw,
That's all.
a senior hacksaw
Right.
is the bigger one of the two.
Okay, yeah.
The pencil, a ruler,
And what about this thing here?
bench hook.
No. Well, yes, bench.
Yeah.
That's a piece of equipment, Jake.
Yes.
What's this?
This is a sanding block or
No, this.
sandpaper. Tenon saw.
Yeah. So,
Um,
distinguish between the equipment and the tools. Just very quickly.
So the tools are normally handheld and it's something you use. Equipment is normally something you use to get the job done. Is that right?
Or to hold or clamp
Okay.
in some way. Yes. I think you're sort of right there.
Yeah.
There's the woodworker's vice. Of course, we didn't mention that.
Mhm.
Right. I'm really pleased with that. I think you've done a splendid job.
Yes.
Well done, guys.